Yeah.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to CSHR Radio. Welcome to the Unholy Tea. I'm your host, Maxxx2Unholy. And as always, I'm joined by my trippy alien brother, Yakashka. If you end up watching this, if you're tuned in, then you're tuned in because you want the Unholy Tea. How we doing? How are we doing? So we're gonna take this a little bit slower than we've been taking on these episodes today. And we're gonna go ahead and take a little bit of time, let this hit the internet of things, let it hit the ethernet, let it push, let it stream, let it breathe. And then we're gonna get into some unholy tea today. Let me go ahead and take a moment. Go find this on social media, hit the share button. If you do see this, share button reactions are always loved. We love when people share not only the Unholy Tea, but all the various shows here at CSHR Radio. So feel free to hit the share button. All right, share button hit, share button hit. It's Monday. Monday's a great day for some tea. Everybody likes spilling tea. So I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Coming up into the earlier part of the day, I wasn't sure what tea we was gonna jump into today, and I got to doing some thinking. I've thought about some reoccurring conversations that's came my way lately, and I decided to kind of early post the subject for today. So I decided to tell a story about 6 parameters. But these are not just any ordinary set of parameters. You can think of these 6 parameters that we're going to talk about today as the 6 pillars of self. I like that title. I just came up with it. I like that. 6 pillars of self. I'm going to have to make a note and put that down for that. But before we get into the 6 pillars of self, let's give a little backlog to it. I posted this stat earlier, kind of based on the conversations I've been having lately. Growing up, I often felt like an outsider. In school, I never quite fit in with any particular group. My interests and perspectives seemed to set me apart, and this sense of isolation followed me into adulthood. Whether it was at work, in social settings, or even within my family, there was always this nagging feeling that I didn't belong. For a long time, I saw this as a curse, a fundamental flaw that prevented me from connecting with others. But over time, I began to see it differently. I realized that the key to feeling at ease wasn't about fitting into others' molds, but about defining and understanding my own parameters for being my best self. These parameters became the guiding principles that helped me navigate my life with more confidence and authenticity. Now, like I said, we're going to take this a lot slower than we've been taking it. So before we jump into starting to talk about these 6 parameters of self, I'm going to again encourage you, if you see this video, to hit the share button. Hit the share button. We need shares. We want shares. We like shares. So on this post, I created an image, and there's 6 pillars. Now, the 6 pillars of self are self-awareness, authenticity, boundaries, continuous growth, compassion, and resilience. Now, hold on real quick. Before I explain to you these 6 pillars of self, I have to explain to you that these 6 pillars of self are part of another formula. This formula right here, it's a real easy formula. I'm going to read this formula out loud to you. Learning the craft plus redefining over defining your brand multiplied by the square root of motivation times dedication times perseverance cubed, cubed equals successful creation. That formula I just read to y'all was something I pinned down a while back ago. And as I've been working this formula and expanding on it, I started finding different pieces that fit in it. And this 6 pillars of self that I'm about to bust down to y'all today, this is one of them pieces that came from that formula. So let's jump into these 6 pillars real quick. The first pillar is self-awareness. The first step was to truly understand who I am. Let me re-say that real quick. The first step was to understand who I am. Notice the wording on that. Who I am. Not who Joe Schmo wants me to be. Not who my parents want me to be. Not who my peers want me to be. Who am I? This involves a deep dive into my passions, values, strengths, and weaknesses. I learned to listen to my inner voice and recognize what genuinely made me happy rather than what I thought should make me happy based on societal expectations. Is that self awareness kicking in? Is that pillar of self awareness making sense? Let me explain why that first pillar needs to be strong. In today's world and in existence, it's easy to get lost in the world. It's easy to get lost in what everybody else expects. It's easy to get lost in everybody else's sense of direction. So the first step is finding you. What is it that animates you? What is it that you want to do? Not what others want from you. What do you want? Now, once you find you, it's time on to the move to the next step. The next pillar goes hand in hand with self awareness. Like these are like twin towers that kind of raise up together. Because as you're gaining this self awareness, you're going to step into building the pillar of authenticity. Embracing my true self meant letting go of the need to conform. I stopped trying to fit into boxes that were never meant for me. Instead, I began to express my unique perspective and embrace my quirks and differences as strengths rather than liabilities. Now, let me give you a disclaimer. When you are building these first 2 pillars of self, you're also going to initiate the destruction of the life you've lived up to that point. I got to make a little bit of sense of this for y'all, so hold on. Let me give this to you like a science formula. Once you start raising them first two pillars of self awareness and authenticity, what's going to happen is the you that's emerging forth. This you now that's starting to take shape from raising these pillars up. That energy is going to start burning away every bit of who you thought you were that does not align with who you really are. Them people that you hang out with that don't actually serve your life purpose and your life mission, them pillars are going to start pushing them away. It's going to start pushing them out of your life. Them friends that only called you to go out and drink and party and do reckless things in life or get you immersed in needless drama and conflict, you're going to find yourself separating from them. Them people that are not a good influence in your life, you're going to find yourself separating from them. You're going to find yourself not wanting to be around them. You may try. You may try because of familiarity. But trust you me, if you are raising these first two pillars up, they are going to repel everything that was in your life that is not meant to help you get to your best self. Now, I'm going to be honest. Once you initiate the process of destruction to rebuild, you might as well get really used and comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because at that point, life is going to start doing things. It's going to start, first off, closing old doors so new doors can open. But while it's doing that, now that third pillar is starting to get a base and a foundation. That third pillar is boundaries. So now, once you got them first two pillars staked out, now you're going to start setting boundaries. Okay, so I got Now I'm going to start drawing this circle. I'm going to use this to draw this circle around me. I'm going to start setting my boundaries. Now, boundaries. Setting boundaries was crucial. I learned to say no to things that didn't align with my values or drained energy or drained my energy. This included distancing myself from toxic relationships and environments that stifled my growth. It was about protecting my mental and emotional well being. See, once you start setting them boundaries in, this is when life gets interesting. This is when the construct starts throwing old temptations, old habits, old associations your way as a form of a test. Do you have them first two pillars nice, set, and strong? Are you rooted in self awareness and authenticity? If you're rooted in self awareness and authenticity, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you that the boundary pillar is going to be easy to erect, but you will find the road to erecting this boundary pillar a lot smoother versus not having your first two pillars set. See, when you're erecting them boundary pillars, the universe is shaping and molding you now. It's seeing how you've moved in life up to this point. This is the phase where the universe starts opening your eyes and it starts cluing you into these parameters. You're realizing that your optimal self doesn't hang out with this type of people. Your optimal self doesn't engage in these activities. Your optimal self will go to work while everybody else is out partying. Your optimal self don't need to frivolously spend money because you got bills and responsibilities you're shouldering. Your optimal self doesn't need to be like everybody else. You're here to do what your assignment. So now is when them boundaries start setting in. It gets uncomfortable. it gets lonely. But there's a reason for them boundaries. Oh, there is a reason for them boundaries. See, after you get them boundaries firmly in place, after you're to the point where you've got them boundaries ingrained, so now they shape how you move. The universe is like, okay, we're 3 in. We've got a strong base and a point. You've got the base of self awareness and the base of authenticity. And now you've got boundaries at the point of the spear. Now it's time to bring up the next pillar and make this a square. That next pillar is continual growth. Oh, you wasn't expecting that to be a pillar. You was one of them people that believed all of these light washing fake ass light workers. I gotta watch my mouth on radio. Well, I'm sorry to spoil the surprise for you. Let me be the first to tell you there is no easy solution. There's no heaven in the skies. There's no riding away in the sunset with a man on a cloud coming to save you. There's no judgment day. There is no final judgment. There's no Armageddon unless you choose that. What I'm getting at is there's no rapture. There's no suddenly somebody's going to come and solve all the problems of your life. Because if they solve all the problems of your life, you're not going to learn no lessons. So the universe gets you to see that part of the experience of this life is continuous growth. Growth and evolution. Kind of amazing because they kind of hinted that at school when they told you about Darwin and evolution. They had a lot of y'all believing that humans evolved from primates. But you can't see in everyday life that you need to evolve. Dummies. Continuous growth. Being my best self is a journey, not a destination. It is a journey, not a destination. You're going to have highs. You're going to have lows. You're going to have to climb back up. It's not a one-stop shop. If you're expecting the journey to your higher self to be a one-stop shop, abort mission now. You signed up for the wrong mission. I committed to lifelong learning and personal development, whether through formal education, reading, or new experiences. I constantly sought to expand my horizons and evolve. See, something about the way that we've been conditioned over time, we don't like new experiences. We don't like getting out of these little comfort zones. Well, if you're seeing this message, we are here to tell you get out of your comfort zone. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. See, when you're uncomfortable, you got to get innovative. You got to think on your toes. You got to move quick. You got to do different than you've done before. And to get different results, you got to make different choices. So if you're comfortable, you're not going to make different choices and you're not going to get different results. Oh, easy. Whoa, easy. So now we got 4 pillars. We got this pillar of self-awareness. We got this pillar of authenticity. They forming the base. And now we got the weight up top distributed. between boundaries and continuous growth. Now, you need them boundaries and able to have continuous growth because there's a saying, with new levels come new devils. So as you elevating, you're going to face new devils. You're going to face new trials, new tribulations, new temptations. And without them boundaries in place, you go succumb to them temptations. It's going to be hellacious if them boundaries ain't in place. So now watch how this goes. We got a stair step so far. We got a square base right now. Self-awareness leads to sparking authenticity. Building upon self-awareness and authenticity leads to creating boundaries and learning the parameters. As you create them boundaries and them boundaries get firm in place and you're learning them parameters, you come to realize, understand, and accept that this is a mission of continuous growth. Now, as that awareness and you start mastering the concept of continuous growth and learning the concept of overstanding. See, continuous growth is where the universe teaches you to overstand. When you're learning continuous growth, the universe is unlocking the perception to overstand to you. When you're overstanding, you're realizing desirable, undesirable, it's all for you. You may not have got the results you wanted, but that's because you didn't follow the exact recipe you needed to manifest that. You didn't follow the precise formula. You was working off of a half-cocked formula, so you didn't create the results you expected. See, if you ain't unlocked overstanding, then you just get discouraged. You just get upset because your creation ain't going the way you see it. Now, as you gain that overstanding, oh, hold on, I see some comments. Before we unlock this next pillar about what happens as you gain this overstanding, let's jump in these comments. I see we got Miss Jackie, one of our other co-hosts from Herbalations. If y'all ain't hip, make sure y'all jump on CSHR Radio on Sundays and check out Herbalations and Miss Jackie. But Miss Jackie here said, you also need to actually believe it. And she followed up with a comment that says, stop being your biggest denier. Both very true and great points. So let's backtrack a little bit. When she said you also need to actually believe it, what she's hinting at right there is you have to have faith in yourself. Now, being that I'm the son of a minister, I got to give y'all a little bit of some sermon right here. See, faith is described as the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. The substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. Now that I've given y'all the cut and dried Christian version definition of faith, now that I've busted that down to y'all, let's flip the script real quick. I told y'all that the definition of faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I'm going to give y'all an easier way to describe the word faith. Coming from other walks of life, Here is a great definition of faith. The universe does not respond to an unsure manifester. If you want to harness the power of the cosmos, if you want to harness that energy within you, you have to commune and command that energy as if you're the one running the show. You can't be all timid when you ask in the universe, "Oh, universe, I hope I get a job that pays my bills." No, you got to be like, "All right, so I got to get a job so I can get this bread." And then you got to move as if you're going to get a job that gets that bread. That means you're going to get out and put out them applications. You're going to put in the work to get what you want. Another great way to put it, as Jackie just dropped in the comments, is show commitment to the universe and it'll commit to you. And another point is, but you also have to be a willing and aware of the work, which, yes and no. That right there is a slippery slope right there, because there's a lot of times where you're not consciously aware of the work. So don't take being aware of the work as if you have to be consciously aware all the time. Sometimes this work is deep in the seat of your subconscious. So it's them triggers, it's them automatic thought processes. Sometimes you got to dig down into that basement. You got to get to that foundation of your consciousness. You got to get in that subconscious and do some work sometimes. Sometimes it's active. Sometimes it's what's right there in your everyday waking mind. But make no mistake, a part of this is a subconscious process. Now, as you are unlocking that overstanding, you start hitting that fifth pillar. Now, this fifth pillar, this fifth pillar is a doozy. This fifth pillar is compassion. This parameter was about extending the understanding and empathy I wanted for myself to others. It meant recognizing that everyone has their own struggles and unique journey. Compassion helped me build deeper, more meaningful connections with those around me. That kind of compassion that I just mentioned, Ms. Jackie, it unlocks the patience that you just mentioned in the comments. It unlocks it. You see, that compassion takes you out of looking at things strictly from your ego. Now, when I said your ego, that's something we're going to come back to over time, because we're going to have to take a look at what exactly is the ego. The ego in today's times, do people have big egos? Yes. But the word ego is more than just that. The word ego really has a huger definition that most of society knows nothing about. But those are keys we're going to talk about later. I got to feed you baby spoons right now, people. I got to give y'all this in baby scoops. So let's just say that this compassion helps unlock the perception that there is no one person changing the world. For me, unlocking this compassion stage, starting to erect this compassion pillar, was actually a real crucial juncture. It was what helped me cipher out a lot of the nonsense I was starting to see and find myself tangled in from all these various social welfare social reform groups. I said that so backwards. See, this compassion helped me start seeing like everybody's got a journey. You can't save the whole world. You can't save the whole world because everybody's here to take part in a different level of reality, a different script, you should say. This compassion helped me realize that all of these scripts together are creating this realm. This compassion, it helped me start seeing that I didn't need to sit around and debating schematics with people. As this compassion pillar was erecting, I found myself pulling away from a lot of the traps you see going on online. I quit debating people about whether the name was Yeshua or Jesus or about the fact that a J didn't exist back then. I quit debating people about skin color. I quit debating people about political values. See, as that compassion set in, it started opening eyes. I'll give you an eye-opening realization that came along in building this compassion pillar. Me personally, once I started seeing through the illusion of politics, I just was like, how is anybody not seeing this? How are these people voting? And I felt like I just needed to keep hammering over and over again that screw the political system, screw it. Both sides are against us. As this compassion set in, I found myself exiting the need to even speak on political conversations. I might make a statement like I don't vote for each side, but I quit having the need to explain myself because I started realizing no matter what I say, if a person is a high Republican and they want to be a diehard Republican, nothing I'm going to tell them is going to change that. And I quit looking at people based on things like that. I started exiting that out of my field of view. Started learning more instead of focusing on them external and superficial things to start basing my relations with people more on the conversations I was having with them. Now, that fifth pillar of compassion, once it gets really good and strong, you realize that all the while you were building these other five pillars, there was a secret sixth pillar that was being built. Watch this. No, I was just saying that a part of this is subconscious, right? The sixth pillar is built by your subconscious. As you're walking these steps, the sixth pillar that your subconscious builds is resilience. Life is full of challenges and setbacks. Building resilience meant developing the capacity to bounce back from adversity. It involves cultivating a positive mindset, seeking support when needed, and viewing failures as opportunities for growth. You see how that sixth pillar kind of just encompassed all the other five pillars? Because what the sixth pillar was taking all of the combined experiences of the five pillars and creating kind of like a backbone pillar. You could really look at that sixth pillar like your spine. It's like creating a spine. And if you were creating a human being, that sixth pillar is a spine. You need the spine to stand up straight. You ain't got no spine, you are jelly backed, you're limp noodle with it. You can't stand straight. You can't, and if you can't stand straight, you can't stand tall. If you can't stand straight and tall, you're not standing on 10 toes. Now, in the comments, let's jump back to them. Jackie said a couple things that we kind of missed. She said, but in reality, if you want something, you are aware of the things you need to do, and people be looking for lazy ways out. Oh, yeah, people want handouts. Everybody has to learn one way or another. Now, sometimes you become aware of things in stages. So sometimes you may not know exactly what you need to do, but you'll know that there's steps. Sometimes it takes identifying step one. And once you complete step one, step two is going to unlock and show itself. And as you complete step two, you might get a glimpse at like step five. But as you're completing step two, here comes step three. Now, a lot of people do. Jackie also commented and said, it's why so many curse the universe for not giving them what they asked for when they asked for it. You're absolutely right. A lot of people do. Matter of fact, I'm going to give y'all something today for free 99. Just tell him his unholiness gave you a free key to existence. I'm about to give you a cheat code to life. If you find yourself upset because something didn't go exactly how you wanted it, I got a challenge for you. I want you, the moment you're aware that you're upset because something didn't go exactly how you saw it going or how you wanted it to go, I want you to say pause and step back. When you say pause and you step back, you're doing something symbolic, and I'm going to explain what you're symbolically doing. You're at that exact moment centering and grounding yourself right then in that moment. And that act of stepping back, you're going to widen your focus. I don't want you to just look at this situation at this point from your physical eyes. I want you to pull back your focus. I want you to look at everything, widen the field of view. And as you're widening the field of view, I want you to ask yourself simply this: what did I miss that I didn't see this going like this? Sounds simple. It sounds trivial and like some bull crap, huh? Until you get the hang of it. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck 50 with you. This is something I started doing myself, and it actually came from something I learned during one of my stints in a rehab facility. During one of the times where I was put away, they put me through a program called Thinking for a Change. In Thinking for a Change, part of this program and part of what they taught us was this concept of something called a thinking report. Now, a thinking report is a two-part process. When you first learn about a thinking report, it's just that. It is a report. It's something you do after a situation. So when you found yourself in a situation and then you're thinking about it later, like, damn, I screwed up. Or dang, that was jacked up. Like, how did I let that get that way? You started doing this thinking report. Over time, as you did these thinking reports, this is crazy because this is actually the type of stuff a lot of people talk about when they talk about rewiring your brain. This is a live fire example of rewiring your brain. As you do these thinking reports, over time, it stops being a thinking report. Over time, these thinking reports morph into a thinking check-in. You're no longer doing them after a situation. You're catching yourself in the heat of the moment and applying that thinking report format to that exact current moment. I learned that some years ago. And in recent years, that's been coming up a lot. And as that process was kicking in more and more, I started asking myself, how else can I use this process? So that hack I just gave you, that was free 99 because I love y'all. That was absolutely free of charge because I love y'all. Take it and run with it. Now, Miss Jackie, you said patience is needed. Oh, yes. So, in my life experiences, one thing that I've learned early in life is the concept of patience. Matter of fact, I'm gonna just keep this one at $1.50 with y'all. Here is one of my indicators that somebody I'm talking to has led a relatively calm life and never actually, had a rough patch in life or like experienced troubles in life for real. They're impatient. If you come from the walk of life I come from, trust me, you learn patience real quick. I'll tell y'all a fun fact about being incarcerated. Not a fun fact. That was sarcasm. I probably didn't convey it well, but I tell y'all a fact about incarceration. You learn patience. If you enter into a cycle of incarceration or you experience incarceration, you will learn that getting booked into a jail is a very quick process. It happens very fast. They can put you in the jail quick. When it comes to releasing you from a jail, oh my goodness, it is such a longer process. And you just learn that is the name of the game, patience. I just had to go to court today for a traffic ticket. Now, my last name is Anderson. First letter of the alphabet. Most courtrooms, you would think, I would have been relatively towards the front of the docket. Do you know how frustrating it was to miss being on Groove London today? Because I had to go to court for a traffic ticket from an overzealous cop. And then I ended up being like one of the very last people called today. So I spent my whole afternoon sitting in the courtroom to get a $118 fine. I spent my whole afternoon in a courtroom when they didn't even have the ability to arrest me for the bullcrap ticket. But guess what? That's part of the game. It's patience. No matter if I'd have been ticked off and mad or, hey, I gotta go. These people gonna move at their speed and ain't nothing I can tell them to get to the front of this line faster. They gonna call my name when they feel like it. It sucks. But guess what? It's a lesson I had to learn early. Now, as for don't go overboard with compassion, you can't go overboard with compassion. People confuse having a lack of boundaries as having compassion. You can have unlimited compassion, but if your boundaries are weak, people will take advantage of that compassion. Hence why boundaries is one of them pillars. In order to protect your compassion and keep it intact, you have to have boundaries. Which is right there for your next comment, Miss Jackie. Don't allow yourself to be used because you're compassionate. Boundaries. See, that boundary parameter, remember I said this. That boundary parameter is heavy. It's deep. It's resilient. That boundary parameter will get on your case. That boundary parameter will set that alarm off to you to tell you, hey, we don't hang around these type of people because they don't fulfill our life purpose. We don't do these type of activities because they don't fulfill our life mission. We don't align with these values because they don't fulfill with our life mission. We don't take part in these activities because these are not the things that we align with. We don't let people take our compassion and use it as something to take advantage of us. I can love you, but I can love you from a distance. I can love you, but I'm not going to give you my last because you're not helping yourself. Why am I going to short myself for you to enjoy your vices and not help yourself? See what I'm talking about? Them boundaries? Them boundaries keep that compassion from being abused. Oh, I still got 14 more minutes to drown this, to ride this out. So now that we've talked some about the 6 pillars of self, let me explain something to y'all. You get to a point where you realize that every bit of the life you've been living has been by design of your environment. When you reach that point, you're going to start looking for answers. Them answers, you better be ready for them. You better be ready. See, I'm giving y'all the light version of this right now. Because if I really give you the heavy version, I may destroy your reality. I may destroy your paradigm if I just give you full-fledged dragon breath right now. So I got to give you baby scoops. I'm going to share with y'all some perceptions that, whoo. See, as you're walking this walk, you're going to have to learn how to walk away from family and friends that don't serve you. Family and friends that always seem to put you in screwed up situations. Family and friends that only hit you up to try and ask you for something. But them the same people you can't call if you hungry right now. Them the same people you can't call when you behind a month on your car payment. Them the same people that won't even bother to come visit you. Them the same people that won't support you. Them the same people that won't buy the merch you're putting out. Them the same people that won't support your art. You learn to walk away from them no matter what the tie was because you realize that they wasn't for you to begin with. You were just a part of the script. You were somebody that they grew comfortable around. You were somebody that they viewed as an easy mark. You were somebody that they felt because you're related to them, they can pull them compassion strings. Oh, see, I'm giving y'all keys to the game. Holla if you hear me when you hear this. I promise you, if you listen close, rewind back what I've said throughout this video, you'll realize I just dropped some heavy keys in your lap. I dropped keys to the shackles in your lap tonight. Question is, what are you going to do with them? Whether you see this tonight, whether you see this tomorrow, next week, 2 weeks from now, a month from now, or a year from now, just know that this episode of the Unholy Tea is the key edition. I gave you the keys to escape the dungeon. Well, thank you, Mr. Hoey. Thank you. It's great to see you in the chats, bud. It's great to see you. Unofficially, Hoey is so a part of the station. For those of you who may watch this later and wonder who DK Head is, that is Hoey. That is one of our unofficial affiliates. We've been trying to get him on the station for a while. He just keep a dodging us. We gonna get him one day. He gonna come take a walk on the wild side right here on CSHR Radio. Speaking of merch, not only do I have a merch collection available, CSHR Radio has merch available. If you go look, there's a website somewhere around about. I'm not exactly sure where, but if you look on these pages, you're going to find a website. Anybody that gets anything CSHR If you get it and tag CSHR Radio in it, it might take me time depending on how many people do this. But if you buy some CSHR merch, I will contact you from my personal profile on social media and ship you something from Webware merch for free. So in other words, right now we are running a 2-for-1 special right here at CSHR Radio. You buy some CSHR merch, Maxx will ship you some Webware merch for free. You buy some CSHR merch, Maxx will ship you some Webware merch for free. Now, we even gonna make it more interesting because it's a 2-for-1 special. If you buy some Webware merch, Maxx will foot the bill and ship you some CSHR Radio merch for free. We got a 2-for-1 special right now between CSHR merch and Webware merch. Get it while it's going. This offer expires 90 days from the day. Today is July 8th, August, September, October 8th. This offer expires. With that being said, it has been a great session. We about 8 minutes out. I see Scott with that popped in. It is bumper music time. I just want to tell y'all, make sure buttons on all social media platforms, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Come find me, Maxxx2Unholy, Toby Anderson. Come find CSHR Radio. And other than that, it's a baby crying in the background, so we got to go figure out what's up. Y'all have a great one, and I'll see y'all next week.